Alright, hello everybody. Few things you may notice first off. It's back! My Tokyo 60 is back. I got the replacement PCB from drop-in last night, and then I put it in, and now it is working again. So, you will once again be seeing my Tokyo 60 on my desk. Hiyateatsu on the desk. This is obviously a very old Hiyateatsu. This was my main mousepad for a while. I tried the GSR, GameSense Radar, the other day and used it for a scrim or two. And I actually really was enjoying it. So I want to come back to the Hiyateatsu since it's a little bit of a slower Hien and see if I like it. I'll probably still end up back at the Hien. But I figured it was worth experimenting with for a little bit. And then finally you'll notice MP01 back without tape, without grip tape. I basically just decided that the grip tape wasn't worth it, because it was really grippy for the first few days, and then it very quickly lost that, and it was actually just less grippy than the basic gloss, and it also ended up making the mouse feel a little bit thicker, so I just took the grip tape off, because I felt like I was performing better without it. However, I also don't have very sweaty hands, and if you do have sweaty hands, maybe the grip tape's going to do more for you. And then finally, I am filming this video in the morning. It is 8:20 a.m. at the time of recording, so there is going to be a little bit of sunlight, but that shouldn't actually change anything. So I want to make more content about this EC3 mouse because I tried it in a scrim, and I just want to kind of give some thoughts on it after that. I'm probably going to try it in more scrims because I scrimmed 3 times with it, so it's 6 hours of scrim time, and then also I just played some Overwatch out of scrims with it. And I have some thoughts on it. I don't know if I'm going to be consistently using it for a prolonged period of time, but I'll definitely be trying it out on and off for sure. But I certainly have some thoughts after the first week of use that I wanted to share with you people, in case not, because I don't actually know when they restock. And I figured it will be helpful for people to know all of the possible things about the mouse before they restock. So, first off, these side buttons, they are sort of better. They're actually kind of like a side grade to the EC2, in all honesty, which kind of sucks, because feeling-wise, they're a lot better, but the issue is based on their mounting, the front of each button really does not click in. So, like, if I'm pushing the front of this button right here, it feels like it stops too short. And I can hear the switch actuating, so I know that it actuates, but I can barely tell. And then if I push the front of this back switch, I just straight up can't actuate it unless I hit it at the perfect spot. The front switch isn't as much of an issue, because typically when you're hitting that side button, you're hitting it right about there, and that's just fine. But the back button, you're never hitting it back here, you're hitting it up here, and that just doesn't actuate. So especially if you're sort of hitting it with like the joint of your thumb like that, you're going to have a lot of trouble actuating that back side button. And I assume that that's down to how the buttons are mounted inside. I haven't opened up the mouse yet, so I can't comment for sure on that. But that's actually something that I ran into a lot, because in Overwatch I have abilities bound to these side buttons. And having the buttons not be, like, not actuate sometimes is a really, really big deal for me. Additionally, the really aggressive curve of the cord right here, I'm not going to say it got in the way, but I don't like that I can just poke it accidentally. Like, if my finger slips off the click, it just runs into the cable, and I don't like that. The scroll wheel is amazing. I really, really, really like these new Zowie scroll wheels. They remind me a lot of the Vaxi scroll wheels. In my opinion, they're kind of a combo between the Vaxi scroll wheels and the Logitech scroll wheels, because they have the tactility of the Vaxi scroll wheel, but they have the sort of smoothness, I guess I'd put it, as the Logitech scroll wheels, and then they have a sound that's in between. Mouse foot is starting to come up there. Gotta make sure that doesn't happen. So, I don't know. I think that a lot of the things about this mouse seemed really, really, really interesting right once I got it, but after actually putting in some game time on it, some of it is not as perfect. Also, the clicks, they're the same Zowie clicks on the EC2, which means they're not that good. And they're 100% usable, but this right click especially, if you're hitting it around here towards the base, so if you have big hands and your fingers really rest towards the tip of the mouse, that part right there is probably the worst part you could click the mouse at. That being said, if you click the mouse probably about further up here, the clicks are pretty good. But if you're clicking the clicks all the way down at the base, they're not going to be that good for you. So, I mean, yeah, this just kind of sucks to me because I feel like they fixed so much with this mouse. But the things that they've been able to do so well, they haven't really done well on this mouse. Like, I know that this is not an FK2, and the EC has never had the same clicks that the FK2 has. But the FK2, for the longest time, has had really good side buttons, really good left and right clicks. And I don't know how, after so many years, they can't transfer that over to this mouse. And frankly, it's just really disappointing, because this mouse would be a really, really good offering if it just had slightly better left and right clicks, and then side buttons that didn't have the issues I mentioned earlier. Other than that, I haven't had any issues. I don't know if they changed up these mouse skates at all, but they feel a little bit faster than I remember. However, I also haven't used Zowie stock skates in a while. But the mouse feet are super good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Yeah, the shape is actually pretty nice. It's a lot more comfortable than I'd expect. The same issue that I alluded to in my original video, though, is true, where it's getting to be very circular since they shortened it but didn't make it shorter in the width as much. And therefore, it feels a little bit weird in my hand. Like, part of why I was drawn to the Zowie EC3-C when I was using it is that it was really thin and pretty... it was really thin, and this mouse isn't thin. I mean, even if you look at the NP01, it's... like, at the grip point, it is actually quite thin, even though it flares out towards the base and creates a very comfortable base of the mouse to hold. At the point where my thumb is going, it's still very thin. And this mouse just doesn't have that. In fact, it doesn't actually curve in at all. Like, if we compare the bottoms of these shapes, the NP01 very much curves in here, right? Whereas the EC actually just starts curving out, right? So yeah, I know that there would be probably, if they did change the shape, I think there'd probably be people complaining that they did that. But it's just a little bit disappointing that they didn't shorten the width at all, or like give a better, deeper thumb groove or anything. Ugh, sorry, I'm yawning a lot this morning. The cable has been actually really, really good. Obviously, I put it in my Zowie Kamade bungee here. But I had absolutely no issues with it. It's definitely a lot better than the stock Vaxi cable. In fact, this might be one of the... So for the most part, I paracord every mouse I get, except for Razer mice, and now I think new Zowie mice I'm not going to have to paracord either, because this is a really, really nice cable. But yeah, I think that's kind of all I have to say. Expect another video... maybe in a few weeks or so, because I kind of wanted to do a like one week update on the EC3, and then I'm going to use it in scrims and then give another update later on. Overall, my biggest concerns are all things that are kind of subjective. Like, if you have smaller hands and you are gripping the mouse further up here, like if you have a very traditional claw grip, the clicks are going to be just fine for you. And then when I say that I had issues with the side buttons, I mean like maybe a few times over the course of those 6 hours I went to press them and they didn't actuate because of how they're mounted. And they also feel bad. Like, they feel bad, but for the most part in a game you're probably going to be fine with them. It's just a thing that needs to be fixed, right? Like, it's not an issue that I think really should deter you from purchasing the mouse, but it's something Zowie needs to fix. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I have to say. Oh, coding. I got some comments about the coding in the last video. The coding is something so hard to comment on with Zowie mice in terms of how it's changed through generations of Zowie mice, because you can never really tell if a new mouse has better coding than an old mouse, or if you've just been using the old mouse for 5 years, right? This coding feels really nice. It's a little bit worse than my G Pro Superlight, in that my G Pro Superlight doesn't leave the same like marks when I like drag my finger along it, right? However, in terms of feel, it's very comparable to the Superlight in terms of coding. Like the Superlight, it's smooth, but it's certainly matte, but it doesn't have like texture, and that's super true for the EC3. I don't have my EC2 on my desk right now, but I compared it to that mouse. Cause somebody commented, and I took the mice out and I compared the two. I mean, they felt really, really good. In comparison, like this is definitely the best coded Zowie mouse apart from the glossy that they've made so far, and I think that coding is definitely not an issue with this mouse. All right, that is kind of all I have to say. I just want to give like a 1 week update on the EC3. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you want more EC3 content, and I will see you guys later.